My name is Sophia Chen, and I just turned 18. At my birthday party last night, my father pulled me aside and whispered, "When this is over, you're going to sign some papers for Uncle Marcus. Just a formality." I smiled, I nodded. Then I walked into the kitchen, opened my laptop, and quietly transferred my entire multi-million-dollar inheritance from my grandparents into an irrevocable trust, just as a precaution. The next morning, my parents and younger brother found out that the vineyard, the savings, the investments, everything, was locked behind a legal wall they couldn't touch. My dad turned white. My uncle, who had already signed a deal to sell property he never owned, called a lawyer. Before I tell you what happened next, please hit like and subscribe. Drop your city and local time below. I love knowing where you're listening from. Now, let me take you back 6 years to a summer in Napa Valley when my grandfather said something I didn't understand until last night. The summer I turned 12, my grandfather, James Chen, picked me up in his old Range Rover and drove me 2 hours north from San Francisco to Napa Valley. The vineyard sits on 40 acres, rolling hills of grapevines that turn every shade of gold and purple, depending on the light. The main house is stone and weathered wood, built in the 1970s. The wraparound porch overlooks the valley. It smells like earth and oak barrels, and something I can never quite name, maybe history. "Grab that end," Grandpa says, pointing to a rotted fence post near the eastern edge of the property. I do. We spend the morning replacing 4 posts, working side by side. He doesn't rush me. He shows me how to check for soft wood by pressing my thumb into the grain. If it gives, it's done. Time to replace it. Inside, Grandma Lynn has prepared lunch. Homemade dumplings, jasmine tea, fresh fruit cut into perfect pieces. She sets it on the wooden table my grandfather refinished himself, the one he'd been working on for 3 years. She sits beside me on the porch afterward, and we watch the afternoon light slide across the vineyard. "This vineyard stays in the family," Grandpa tells me that evening, wiping dirt from his hands. "But family isn't always blood, Sophia. Family is whoever stays when things get hard." I don't fully understand what he means. I'm 12. I think he's being poetic. He isn't. That whole summer, I come back to the vineyard every weekend. I learned where the irrigation system leaks, which storage building needs new weather stripping, how to prune grapevines without killing them. In October, Grandma teaches me to organize the wine cellar by vintage, because it makes the collection feel like it has a story. Grandpa shows me the property deed, takes me to the county office, shows me my name on papers I don't yet understand. I don't know then that my grandfather is already talking to a lawyer about exactly this place, about exactly me. Back home in San Francisco, the air is different. Our house in Pacific Heights is fine. Victorian, 3 bedrooms, the kind of place that looks impressive but requires constant attention. Fine. Not warm, just fine. My brother David is 10, and he has the larger bedroom. My parents redecorated it last year. Navy walls, a gaming setup that cost more than my entire bookshelf. My room still has the original hardwood floors, but the paint is peeling. At dinner one evening, my dad brings it up. "That vineyard is just sitting there losing value," Richard says, cutting into his salmon. "Taxes, maintenance, insurance. We could sell it for development. The land alone is worth $2 million, maybe 3. My mom nods. "Makes sense." "Grandpa said it stays in the family," I say. Richard laughs. Not cruel, worse, dismissive. "You were 12, Sophia. He was being sentimental. The vineyard is a liability, not an asset. Nobody in this family knows how to run it. Nobody asks me anything else." Nobody asks me anything else. The conversation moves to David's chess tournament, regional finals, very impressive. My parents are already planning which colleges to mention it in. I won a writing contest 2 weeks ago. The prize is a trip to a literary conference in Boston. The acceptance letter is still on my desk, unopened. Nobody asks about it. Nobody even notices it exists. After dinner, I clear the plates. On the counter, half hidden under a stack of mail, there's a real estate brochure. Silverstone Vineyards Development. Napa Valley Luxury Properties. Premium pricing for development rights. There's a handwritten phone number in the margin. I don't recognize the handwriting. Not my dad's. Not my mom's. I put the brochure back exactly where I found it. Upstairs in my room, I think about Grandpa's wooden table. The one he spent 3 years refinishing. The one where Grandma always knew exactly what sandwich to make me without asking. I think about the brochure downstairs. Someone is already measuring my grandparents' home in terms of square footage and resale value. 2 years later, Grandpa James dies. I'm 14. The funeral is on a Thursday in autumn, gray sky, cold wind, the kind of cemetery day that feels like the world is closing in. I sit in the third row, holding Grandpa's pocket watch, the one he always said would keep me on time. At the reception afterward, I notice my father and his brother Marcus standing by the refreshment table, not eating, talking low. Marcus has a leather folder tucked under his arm. My father keeps nodding. I catch one sentence. We should move on this before probate gets complicated. The law will work in our favor, Richard. They're talking about the vineyard at the funeral. My grandfather's funeral. I say nothing. I'm 14. I have no power, no legal standing, and no idea that my grandfather has already accounted for this exact moment. 2 years pass. I'm 16. Grandma Lynn gets sick in February and is gone by May. Pancreatic cancer moves fast. She holds my hand the last time I visit her in the hospital, her grip still surprisingly strong. The vineyard is yours, Sophia, she whispers. Don't let them take it from you. Promise me. I promise, Grandma. I promise. She squeezes my hand once and closes her eyes. She dies 3 hours later. After the funeral, another gray day, the same folding chairs arranged in rows. My father sits at our kitchen table and says to my mother, "Now we can finally handle the property situation." He says it with relief, like something heavy has lifted off his chest. That same evening, Uncle Marcus calls. I hear my father in his home office, pacing. "Yeah, I agree. Let's get this moving before Sophia gets any ideas. The development company is ready. They've got financing lined up." His voice is lighter than it's been in months. I'm standing in the hallway holding a glass of water, and I realize something that sits in my chest like a stone. My grandmother's death isn't a loss to them. It's an opportunity. It's a window of time when they think I'm too young, too distracted, too grief-stricken to fight back. I don't cry that night. I make a different kind of decision. I just don't know how to execute it yet. But I will. Somehow, I will. Between 16 and almost 18, the vineyard becomes my secret project. Every Saturday morning, I drive up to Napa in the used Prius my grandparents left me. I walk the property. I patch fence posts. I check the irrigation system. I clean out the cellar. I sit in Grandpa's study and read his notes about vineyard management, his careful handwriting on yellowed paper, dated across decades. At home, the conversations shift. The vineyard stops being Grandpa's place and starts being the family property. My father says this at dinner like it's always been true. Wade shows up more often now, every other Sunday. Sometimes with folders, sometimes with his laptop open to real estate websites, showing my mother development potential, comparing property values. I try once. What about Grandma's wish? She wanted me to keep it. She said so. My mother puts down her fork, the way she does before explaining something she thinks I don't understand. Your grandmother was on very strong medication at the end, sweetie. This is business. Business. That's the word they use now for everything that used to be about love, about legacy, about keeping promises. By 17, my father starts being more direct. When you turn 18, we'll need to make some decisions as a family. The way he emphasizes family. I know what he means. He means my way. One November afternoon, alone at the vineyard, I'm organizing the library in Grandpa's study. Behind a shelf of old wine journals, I find a sealed envelope. My name on the front in Grandma's careful handwriting. My hands shake, not from fear, but from recognition. Grandma left this here for me to find. She knew I'd be the one organizing it. Not my father, not my brother. Inside the envelope, below her name in small type, Chen Family Legacy Trust. I slip the card into my wallet. I don't call. Not yet. 3 months before my 18th birthday, Patricia Morrison calls me first. The call comes on a Wednesday evening in February. I'm in my room doing calculus homework when my phone shows an unknown number with a local area code. "Iris, this is Patricia Morrison. I was your grandparents' attorney." Her voice is steady, professional, careful, like someone who's rehearsed this opening. "I need to speak with you before your birthday. There are things you need to know, and there isn't much time." She tells me to meet her the following Saturday at her office downtown. Alone. Patricia Morrison is in her late 50s, silver-haired with reading glasses on a chain around her neck. Her office is small, organized, and smells like old paper and coffee. She sits across from me and opens a folder. "Your grandparents hired me 7 years ago," she says. "They established an irrevocable trust, the vineyard, a savings account, and an investment portfolio. Total value, approximately $4.2 million. All of it is held in the trust. You are the sole beneficiary. I feel the room tilt slightly. My grandparents left me everything. I feel the room tilt slightly. My grandparents left me everything. They transferred it into the trust while they were alive. Legally, it never entered their estate. It can't go through probate. Your father and uncle have no claim. She slides a document across the desk. A summary of the trust. My name on the second line. The title to the vineyard was recorded under the trust at the county recorder's office 7 years ago. Your father doesn't know that. Why didn't they tell him? I ask. Patricia pauses. Your grandfather said, and these are his words, "My sons will sell that vineyard before the funeral flowers wilt." The room is quiet. I stare at the paper with my name on it. There's something else, Patricia says. Someone has been making inquiries at the county recorder's office about the vineyard's title within the last month. My pulse quickens. I start paying attention after that meeting, not suspiciously, just quietly. The next Sunday, my uncle comes over for dinner. Afterward, he and my father disappear into the garage. The door is open a crack. Not enough to see, but enough to hear. Marcus's voice cuts through. I already signed the purchase agreement with Silverstone, $450,000. But we need the title clean before closing. Richard, how do we get it clean? Quick claim deed, my father says. Dad's gone, Mom's gone. We're the legal heirs. We quitclaim the property to ourselves, record it, and sell. Is that legal? My uncle asks. It's a standard real estate transfer between heirs. Nobody's going to question it. A pause. Then my father, quieter. What about Sophia? My chest tightens. Wade's answer comes fast, like he's already thought about it. She's 17, Richard. She can't do anything. And by the time she's 18, the sale goes through. Done deal. She'll be upset. She'll get over it. We'll give her a cut. 50 grand for college. She should be grateful. I step back from the garage door. My hands are cold. Wade has already signed a purchase agreement, $450,000 with a development company for a vineyard he doesn't own, on land held in a trust he doesn't know exists. That night, I sit on my bed and text Patricia 2 words. They're accelerating. Her reply comes in 3 minutes. I expected that. Come see me Saturday. We'll prepare everything you need. I close my phone and stare at the ceiling. In the next ring, Kelsey is watching a show, laughing at something. Downstairs, my parents are loading the dishwasher, talking about weekend plans like nothing is happening. And in the garage, somewhere in Wade's folder, there's a contract that's already worthless. He just doesn't know it yet. Saturday, Margaret's office. She lays out the timeline on a legal pad, drawing lines between dates like a battle plan. The vineyard title is already under the trust. If Wade files a quitclaim deed, the county recorder should reject it because the chain of title won't match. The property hasn't been in your grandparents' personal name for 7 years. But if he submits additional documentation, an affidavit of heirship, maybe a falsified death certificate, he could create what's called a cloud on title that won't give him ownership, but it could tie the property up in litigation for a year or more. So I have to act first. You have to act on time. She taps the calendar. The moment you turn 18, you're a legal adult. You can formally accept the role of successor beneficiary. Once you sign, I file a lis pendens, a public notice of legal interest. At the county recorder's office, first thing the next morning, that freezes the title. Nobody can record anything against it. I nod. What do I need to do? Show up, sign 1 document. I'll handle the rest. I sit with that for a moment. Should I tell my parents? Patricia takes off her glasses. Your grandfather specifically asked me to protect you, Sophia, not to negotiate with them. I drive home. My father is in the kitchen. Cheerful. Good news, kiddo. I'm throwing you a birthday party. Whole family, Saturday night. It's a big one. 18. He smiles. Denise smiles. Even David claps. I smile too. My dad is planning my birthday party. My uncle is planning to sell my grandmother's vineyard. And I am sitting at the kitchen table smiling, because in 9 days I am going to let them think everything is going exactly according to their schedule, leaning against his car like he just happened to be in the neighborhood. Wade is a real estate agent. Nothing he does is accidental. Hey kiddo, got a minute? Just want to talk, Uncle Wade. We sit on the front steps. He leans forward, elbows on his knees. Here's the thing, Sophia. That lake lot, just the land alone, is worth $450,000. I can get us a deal with a buyer I trust. Fast close, clean paperwork. And what do I get? 50,000 cash for college. I let the number hang in the air. 50 out of 450. Wade smiles like I've said something cute. You're 18, Sophia. 50 grand is a lot of money for someone your age. Most kids would jump at that. Whose name is on the deed, Uncle Wade? The smile freezes just for a second. A flicker behind the eyes. A micro adjustment. Then it's back. Your grandparents, but they're gone now. Passes to your dad and me as next of kin. That's not how it works. I know it. He should know it. He sells houses for a living, but he's counting on me not knowing. I'll think about it, I say again. Wade stands, brushes off his jeans. Don't overthink this one, Sophia. Opportunities like this don't wait. He drives away. Before he's even at the end of the street, he's on the phone. I can see his mouth moving through the driver's window. That night, I text Patricia again. They're accelerating. She replies immediately. Stay the course. 3 more days. 3 more days. I can do 3 more days. The night before my birthday, I drive to the vineyard, alone. The road is quiet. Cedar Lake sits flat and dark under a half moon, and the pines along the bank look like cutouts against the sky. I park in the gravel patch Grandpa leveled himself. Walk up the porch steps, second one still creaks, and sit in the chair next to the one that used to be his. The air smells like rain and pine resin. I check my email. Patricia has sent the full document package. The acceptance of successor beneficiary form. The beneficiary designation confirmation. A 1-page summary of the trust terms. Everything formatted, flagged with sticky tabs, ready for a signature. My signature. At midnight, I read each document twice. Then I close my laptop and listen to the lake. Grandpa used to sit right here and say, "Patience isn't weakness, Sophia. It's timing." I always thought he was talking about fishing. The tears come without warning. Not a collapse, not a breakdown, just a quiet overflow that I let happen. I cry because I wish this were different. I wish my dad had been the kind of man who would have taken me fishing at this lake, instead of calculating its resale value. I wish my mom had asked me what I want, instead of telling me what's practical. I wish I didn't have to sign a legal document at midnight to protect myself from the people who are supposed to protect me. But wishes don't hold up in court. Trust documents do. I wipe my face, lock the cabin door, drive home, lie down in bed, set my alarm for 11:45 p.m. In 6 hours, I turn 18. In 7, my family finds out that the vineyard was never theirs to take. 11:50 p.m., my bedroom door is closed. The house is silent. My parents went to bed an hour ago, and David's light went off at 10. I open my laptop and connect to the video call. Patricia appears in her home office, reading glasses on a stack of papers lit by a desk lamp. Ready? She asks. Ready, I say. When the clock hits midnight, you are a legal adult in every sense that matters. I'll walk you through the signing. She goes through it one more time, clear and precise. I sign the acceptance of successor beneficiary form, a single-page document that confirms I'm formally receiving the trust my grandparents created. From that second forward, every decision about the trust assets runs through me and Patricia as co-decision makers. Now, she says, first thing tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., I'll go to the county recorder's office and file a lis pendens. That's a public notice that says there's a legal interest pending on the property. Once it's recorded, no one can sell, transfer, or encumber the title while it's active. What if they've already filed something? Then whatever they filed will be flagged. The chain of title will show the trust recorded 7 years ago, not your dad. Any conflicting document gets kicked back. I look at the signed paper in my hand. My name in ink. My grandparents' names in print above mine. Patricia's voice softens just slightly. This isn't a trick, Sophia. This is your grandfather's last gift. You just had to be old enough to accept it. The clock on my laptop reads 12:03 a.m. I'm 18. I'm the legal beneficiary of the Chen Family Legacy Trust. And downstairs in the garage, my uncle's quitclaim deed is already a dead document. My birthday party starts at 4 in the afternoon. The living room is full, maybe 40 people. Neighbors, family, friends, a few of my parents' colleagues, some kids from school. There are balloons, a banner that says Happy 18th in silver letters, a sheet cake from the bakery on Main Street. I smile. I thank everyone. I open small gifts, a journal, a gift card, a picture frame. In my jacket pocket, folded into a neat square, is the signed acceptance form from last night. I don't touch it. I don't need to. It's already done. My father stands up near the cake table and taps his glass. The room quiets. I just want to say, Sophia is officially an adult today. Denise and I are so proud of her. He pauses, looking around the room. And as a family, we have some exciting plans for the future. He looks at me and smiles. Right, Sophia? Every face in the room turns toward me. Thanks, Dad, I say. Nothing more. My father waits a beat, then laughs it off and raises his glass. The room follows. Conversation resumes. From the corner of my eye, I see Wade by the front door, checking his phone, typing something fast with both thumbs. After the cake is cut and the plates are passed around, my father stands again. This time his voice is louder, more deliberate, the voice of a man who's been waiting for an audience. Before we wrap up, I want to share something with everyone. He puts his hand on Denise's shoulder. Our family has been going through a tough time financially. Some of you know about the store. It's been hard. Sympathetic murmurs follow. But Harold and Vivian, my parents, they left us something. The vineyard out at Napa Valley. And as a family, we've decided to sell it to secure everyone's future. We've decided. I feel the words land on my skin like cold water. He's announcing it in front of 40 people, like it's settled. He looks right at me. Sophia understands. She knows this is what's best for all of us. Right, sweetheart? The room waits. Every eye finds me. Neighbors who've known me since I was small. Nora with her lemonade. David half hidden behind the couch. Denise adds, smiling. It's what responsible families do. We sacrifice for each other. I set my fork on my plate. The clink is the only sound in the room. I never agreed to sell the vineyard, Dad. My voice is calm and clear. Richard's smile stays fixed, but the muscles around his jaw tighten. She's kidding. Birthday nerves. I'm not kidding. Wade steps forward from the doorway. Come on, Sophia. This isn't the time or place. I pick up my glass of water, take a slow sip, and set it down. You're right, Uncle Wade. This isn't the time. I hold his gaze. The time is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Silence. Wade's phone buzzes in his pocket. He doesn't check it. No one in the room moves. The guests start leaving after that. Polite goodbyes, tight smiles. The kind of exit people make when they can feel a storm building inside someone else's house. Within 30 minutes, the living room is down to family. My father closes the kitchen door. The fluorescent light buzzes overhead. He pulls out a chair, sits down, and folds his hands on the table like a man about to deliver terms. Here's what's going to happen, Sophia. His voice is low, deliberate. Tomorrow morning, Wade and I go to the county office. We file the paperwork. The vineyard sells. You get your share, a fair share, and we move on as a family. What's my share? Greg doesn't answer. Wade, leaning against the doorframe, fills the gap. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I look at my dad, and if I say no, his jaw sets. If you fight this, you're on your own. No more help with college. No more living under this roof. The kitchen is very quiet. The faucet drips once. You're threatening to kick me out on my 18th birthday. I'm asking you to be part of this family. I push back from the table. Stand up. My voice is steady, even though my hands aren't. I am part of this family, Dad. I'm the part that keeps promises. I walk past Wade, past David, who's sitting on the stairs with his knees pulled to his chest, and I go upstairs. I close my door. I sit on the bed and breathe. At 8 a.m., the county recorder's office opens. The fluorescent lights flicker on. A clerk in a blue cardigan unlocks the front counter. Margaret Caldwell is the first person through the door. She's wearing a gray blazer and carrying a leather folder. She approaches the counter, presents 2 documents, a certified copy of the Chen Family Irrevocable Trust and a lis pendens notice, and asks for them to be recorded against the Napa Valley property. The clerk reviews the paperwork, checks the existing title records, and stamps it recorded. Done. From this moment forward, anyone who pulls the title on the vineyard will see notice of pending legal interest. Chen Family Legacy Trust. Patricia Morrison, trustee. Sophia Chen, beneficiary. At 8:14 a.m., Patricia calls me. It's done. The lis pendens is recorded. The property is flagged. Whatever they bring in will be rejected on chain of title grounds. I'm sitting at the kitchen table eating cereal. My father is upstairs getting dressed. Denise is making coffee. Normal morning sounds. Water running. A closet door. The clink of a belt buckle. At 8:30, my father and Wade come downstairs together. My father is wearing a button-down shirt, his business shirt, the one he wore to bank meetings before the store went under. Wade has a folder tucked under his arm. Same folder as always. We'll be back by lunch, my father says, grabbing his keys. I look up from my bowl. Good luck, I say. My father pauses in the doorway, looks at me. Something in my voice maybe, or something in my face. Then he turns and walks out. I rinse my cereal bowl. I dry it. I set it in the cabinet and I wait. I'll never know exactly what their faces looked like, but I know what happened because Patricia was still at the recorder's office when they walked in. She stayed on purpose. At 9:05 a.m., Wade approaches the counter. He slides the quitclaim deed across with a confident nod. My father stands behind him, hands in his pockets, looking around the room like they'll be in and out in 10 minutes. The clerk takes the document, types the parcel number into the system, reads the screen, types again. Then she stops. I can't record this document, sir. Wade leans forward. Excuse me? The property title is held under the Chen Family Irrevocable Trust. It was recorded in 2018. There's also a lis pendens filed this morning. That's a legal notice of pending interest. That's impossible, Wade says. My parents own that property. Sir, the deed was transferred to the trust 7 years ago. The chain of title is clear. This quitclaim doesn't match the current ownership record. My father steps up beside Wade. There's no trust. Our parents never mentioned a trust. The clerk glances between them. I'd recommend you speak with the trustee listed on the filing, a Patricia Morrison. Wade's hand goes flat on the counter. Patricia's name, the name on the business card they found in my bag, is now on a public record they can't erase. My father turns to Wade slowly. You said this was simple. I didn't know about any trust. You're a real estate agent, Wade. How did you not check the title first? Wade opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. The clerk says evenly, Gentlemen, I'll need you to step outside if there's a disagreement. Patricia, seated in the waiting area near the door, watches them leave. She doesn't say a word. She doesn't need to. The call comes at 9:22 a.m. I'm sitting on the porch watching the neighbor's sprinkler arc back and forth across the lawn. What did you do? My father's voice is tight, shaking. I can hear traffic behind him. He's in the parking lot. I accepted what Grandpa and Grandma left me, that's all. You went behind our backs with some lawyer we've never heard of. Patricia has been the trust attorney for 7 years. Dad, you just never asked. A beat of silence. This is my parents' property, Sophia. I'm their son, and they chose to leave it to me. I keep my voice clean. Not because I didn't know you, but because I didn't trust you with it. The silence that follows is the longest of my life. I count the sprinkler rotations, 3 full arcs, before he speaks again. Well, fight this. You can try, but the trust is irrevocable. That means even I can't dissolve it. There's nothing for anyone to undo. You don't know what you're talking about. I do, Dad. I've had 3 months to learn. He hangs up. No goodbye. I set the phone on the porch railing. My hands are shaking. Not from anger, not from fear. From the weight of saying those words to my own father. From knowing that the man who taught me to ride a bike when I was 6 is the same man who just tried to sell my grandmother's legacy without asking my permission. I sit there until the shaking stops. It takes a while. Over the next 3 weeks, the consequences fall like dominoes, and each one makes a sound. Silverstone Development files a civil suit against Wade. Breach of contract, misrepresentation of title, and demand for the $45,000 penalty, plus an additional $60,000 in damages and legal costs. Their attorney sends the complaint by certified mail to Wade's apartment. He signs for it on a Tuesday. The county district attorney's office receives a referral from the recorder's office regarding the forged notary stamp. An investigator is assigned. Wade's real estate license is suspended pending the outcome, which means his income, such as it was, stops. Word travels in a small town. Not because I say anything, I don't. But court filings are public record, and Silverstone's lawsuit names the vineyard by parcel number. The neighbors at the lake read the local paper. They talk. By the second week, The story has made its way through the Rotary Club, the church parking lot, and the checkout line at the grocery store. Wade calls me once. I answer. Sophia, please, can you ask your lawyer to drop the list pendants? If the title is cleared, I might be able to negotiate something with Silverstone, reduce the penalty. The list pendants protects my property, Uncle Wade. It stays. Your grandparents would be ashamed of you, he says. I let the sentence sit for a moment. Then I say quietly, my grandparents are the ones who set this up. They chose this. They chose me. So I don't think shame is what they'd feel. He hangs up. I set my phone down and look at the wall. There's a framed photo of Grandpa James on my desk. The two of us standing in the vineyard. Both of us smiling. I leave the photo exactly where it is. My father doesn't contest the trust. Patricia was right. The legal fees alone would bury him, and the case would go nowhere. An irrevocable trust established by mentally competent grantors, witnessed, notarized properly, and recorded years before their deaths, is about as airtight as a state law gets. Instead, my father does what he should have done 2 years ago. He sells the building supply store at a loss, but enough to negotiate a repayment plan with the bank. The house stays, barely. The savings don't. Denise goes back to work for the first time in a decade. She takes a position at a pharmaceutical company on Lincoln Avenue, the same chain where she worked before David was born. She doesn't talk about it much. When neighbors ask, she says she wanted to stay busy. But nobody pushes. The town knows. Not every detail, but enough. James Chen's granddaughter protected the family vineyard while her father tried to sell it. That's the version that circulates at the diner, at PTA meetings, at the gas station on Route 12. Some people think I was brave. Some people think I was cold. I don't correct either group. My father and I don't speak for 2 weeks after that morning. The house is quiet in a way that feels permanent, like the silence has weight. Nora Chen, my grandmother's best friend, brings me homemade dumplings one afternoon. Your parents made their choices, she says, setting the container on my desk. But they're still your parents. Don't carry their shame. That's theirs. I nod. A few days later, David calls me. One evening, he's at a friend's house. His voice is small. Sophia? Yeah? I don't understand everything that happened, but I'm sorry they put you through this. My throat tightens. Thanks, David. Are you okay? Really? I'm getting there, I tell him. I drive to the vineyard on a Saturday morning in late April. The grapevines are starting to bud. The pines around the property are sharp green against the sky. I unlock the front door with Grandpa's key, the one he gave me 6 years ago. In case you ever need this place, he said. I didn't know he meant permanently. The house smells the same, like oak barrels and earth, like history soaked into the walls. I walk through every room. The wooden table Grandpa refinished, and still solid, still level. The wine cellar Grandma organized by vintage. The study where Grandpa spent mornings reading about viticulture. The porch where we watched the sunset turning the vineyard gold. In the desk drawer by the window, I find an envelope. My name on the front in Grandpa's familiar handwriting. Patricia told me it would be there. She'd been saving it for after the trust was settled. I open it carefully. It's a letter, 1 page, written in blue ink. His handwriting gets looser toward the bottom the way it always did when he was tired. A promise she trusted me to keep, because she didn't think anyone else would. My father stares into his coffee. I'm not cutting you out of my life, I continue. But if we're going to have a relationship, it has to be built on respect. Not on what I can give you financially. Not on guilt. Not on the idea that I owe you something because you're my parents. Denise starts to speak. We just wanted what was best. Then start by being honest about what happened, I say. You tried to sell something that wasn't yours. You threatened to kick me out. You went through my bag. She closes her mouth. My father still hasn't looked up. When he finally speaks, his voice is rough. I don't know how to fix this, Sophia. You don't have to fix it today, I say. I stand. I leave cash for the coffee. I'll call you Sunday. He nods, one small nod. I walk out into the sunlight. It's the most I can hope for right now. And that's enough. David shows up at the vineyard on a Sunday afternoon in May. He's carrying a pizza box and wearing the same hoodie he's had since middle school. I brought lunch, he says. Hope you like pepperoni. Always, I tell him. We sit on the porch with paper plates on our laps and the pizza box between us. The lake is still. A heron stands in the shallows near the dock, perfectly motionless, waiting for something below the surface. Kelsey eats slowly. She's not here for pizza. I didn't know about any of it, he says finally. Mom and Dad never told me. I know, I say. Was I part of the problem? No, I tell him. You were a kid. We both were. He nods, pulls a piece of cheese off his slice, and sets it on the edge of the box. It's really beautiful here, David says, looking out at the water. Grandma used to say the same thing every single time she sat in that chair. Yeah, she did. Can I come back sometimes? Anytime, I tell him. He leans his head against my shoulder just for a moment. Then he sits up and takes another bite. We don't talk about our parents. We don't talk about trusts or lawsuits or forged documents. We talk about his college plans, about whether the dock needs new planks this summer. The vineyard didn't just protect property. It made space for something new to grow. Early June, 6 a.m., I'm on the porch with a cup of coffee, watching the mist lift off the vineyard. The grapevines are starting to leaf out. The pines are sharp and green against a pale sky. I didn't win against my family. There's no winning when the people who hurt you are supposed to protect you. But I kept a promise. And for the first time in my life, I'm standing somewhere that belongs to me. Not because I fought for it, but because two people loved me enough to plan for exactly this. They saw the storm coming. They built the shelter before I even knew I'd need one. If you're listening to this, and you feel like nobody's in your corner, sometimes the people who protect you aren't standing in front of you. Sometimes they planned for you years ago quietly without telling anyone. And sometimes all you have to do is show up, sign the paper, and keep the promise. Peace doesn't come from revenge. It comes from standing on something solid and knowing you built your life on it. That's my story. If it made you feel something, anger, relief, hope, or even just a little bit less alone, then it did exactly what I hoped it would. If you could protect one thing in your life, what would it be? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for listening. Sophia Chen.